Today I'm going to show you how to make some delicious ham and bean soup. And this is a special request from my son, who said, can you take the leftover Christmas ham and turn it into my favorite soup? Well, yeah, of course I can. I'm happy to. I'm going to use the Cosori MultiCooker to start browning some onions and carrots and celery. And these are the other ingredients that I'm going to add to the soup. I'm going to let the ham bone cook, and I have several slices of ham on this yet, so there's lots of meat going to be involved in the soup. I'm going to use some white navy beans, some garlic already chopped, some cooking stock, and water, of course. I'm using these little mini nibbles for potatoes. I don't want anything too big in there. Some little peas, some baby carrots, onion, celery, of course I said that's part of the roux that we're going to make first by chopping that up real fine, cooking it with some butter, and thickening it with just a tad of flour. That's going to start our liquid, then we'll put the rest of the ingredients in and let them cook for hours. Okay, let me chop everything up and I'll be back to get it started. For this recipe, I'm going to use 4 stalks of celery, 1 Vidalia onion, and some chopped up carrots. Since I'm using petite carrots for the recipe, I'm just going to take a handful of them and chop them up real fine. So we're going to get this all mini-sized pieces so we can brown them. Okay. Now I turned the pot on to saute so we can brown everything. I'm just going to put a stick of butter in there, and it's already starting to warm up. So as the butter melts, I'm also going to add the mirepoix, carrots, celery, and onions. Alright, let's get them in the pot. They're starting to saute right off the bat. Going to stir them around and let them simmer. Also, at this point, I'm going to add some of the already chopped up garlic and let that simmer too. Okay, now the vegetables are starting to get translucent, and you can see there's a lot of butter in there, but we're also going to add a little bit of flour here, and this is how we thicken the soup. Just a scoop, and as you add the flour, mix it around, and you'll see that it starts to become more like a paste. And that's what we're going to work with here, because it will cause the nice ham and bean soup to be thick and delicious. Okay, we can smell the garlic and the vegetables. Now that we have that kind of evenly spread around, and you can see some of the vegetables are getting a little bit brown, we're going to start adding all the other ingredients. So let's take a container of cooking stock. I'm using organic vegetables cooking stock for this one. Put the whole container in here. And then the next most important thing, I'm going to add the ham, because the ham bone is rather large and I'm hoping it will fit in here nicely. You can see it's bone from one side to the other, so we're going to try to make it fit nice and snug in the bottom before we start adding the other vegetables. Now I'd like to push as much of the ham apart as we can here, and a little bit later we'll start taking the pieces out and cutting them up so that they're even little pieces. Now sometimes I get the idea I'm going to put so much in a pot and I run out of room, but when the ham bone comes out we are going to have a lot of extra space, so I'm going to put in as much as possible. Here I have rinsed and drained some white navy beans, and I use 3 cans here. Since that's one of the most important ingredients, I'm going to make sure I get all the navy beans in that I want. Okay. Then let's get as much other stuff as we can. We want the little mini potatoes. These are very small. They don't take up a lot of room. We want some baby carrots. And we want some peas. These are petite peas. They're tiny and they won't be the most important thing when you start to eat bean soup. You want a little bit of extra vegetables in there. So we'll add tiny peas. Get that whole bag. And then we're going to add some water here also. And you can see the ham flavors are going to go through all the vegetables that we have in the pot. Let's fill it up. All right. We can stir this a couple times while it's cooking, but if we're not home or we don't have time, it'll be fine just like this. A little more water. Some water will evaporate. We'll get the lid on this. And now we're going to turn it into a slow cooker. So we're going to take it off of the saute mode. First I have to turn this off. I'm going to put it on medium. Okay, now we can adjust the amount of time that we want to cook this. So we're going to change the cooking time to 3.5 hours. And press start. Alright, we'll be back to check on our delicious ham and bean soup. And at that point, we're going to take the ham off the bone and take it out of the pot and make soup that we can just scoop out into a bowl. Alright. During the cooking, I'm going to pull this bone out and take off the meat that I can put back into the soup. Just trimming the ham off the bone here and returning the meat to the pot. Stir it into the soup and cook it a little bit longer. Just tasting the meat that comes off so close to the bone, it's really sweet. It tastes even better than the first time we ate it. Alright, cooking's done. Let's check out the soup. Wow, look at that. Wow, that looks good. Alright, let's scoop some up in a bowl here. And when I put the ham slices in here from the ham bone, I also cut up some of the larger potatoes so they'd be nicer to eat on a spoon. But this turned out to be a really nice soup. And the broth is just right. Okay, Josh, soup's ready. Come and get it. Hope you like the recipe and try it yourself if you have some ham, a ham slice or some leftover ham on a bone. It's a great way to make a delicious dish. Thanks for watching.